Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Youth Intake Challenge, hot off the back of successfully achieving promotion to League 2. We'll have a quick look at the end of season review, who the best players were, how it kind of went, and then we'll go through the summer transfer window, obviously not signing anybody but renewing contracts and building the squad in preparation for our first year in League 2, so stick around, it should be good fun. So here we go, review of Season 9, which is the 2032-33 season. Pretty good really. I mean, looking at the new arrivals, obviously no transfers in, but transfers out. We always seem to take a bit of a pounding from the board on these. Although I'm pleased to see there's only one in the D's, which was Dracos. We let him go on a free transfer. One of them ones that he wasn't a bad player, but we couldn't really justify keeping him around when we had Brathwaite and Cockins who were ahead of him, and we needed to try and reduce the wage budget as much as possible to try and get professional again, which we were unable to achieve anyway, but we did have to thin out the squad. Years of recruiting every single youth player that came through left me with an overinflated squad, so we had to make some hard choices and ruthlessly cut some out. Again, and same with the loans that went out. Again, they're always really grumpy that I didn't get any kind of fees for them. I think moving forward, if we get professional status, we'll try a bit more frivolent in how we can get some money for these transfers and keep the board on side. In terms of the season then, champions won the league. I mean, halfway through the season, I think we were about 9th, a good 10, 11, 12 points off the top. And looking at the season, we had a good start. I mean, we went a good long way unbeaten. However, 5 of them were draws, which is 10 points dropped. So you can see where some gaps start to creep in. Dorking, who they went up in the playoffs, they were top for a long time, kind of fell away in the last few games, fortunately for us. They beat us, they got the first defeat on us for the season. Eastleigh beat us as well in 10th. We went on a bit of a bad run really, losing to Barnet, Shrewsbury. Then we hit a really bad patch when we hit kind of October, November time. It took a long time for us to pick up a win. We went 6 games without 4 draws, 2 losses. Really not much of a run to shout home about. We started to pick up a few more wins. We kicked off the draws, but that meant we either win or lost. And then towards the second half of the season, whether it was a bit of developmental play, a bit of changing the tactics to go to 2 centre-mid attackers, or changing who we were playing up front, we went on a really good run. Huge amount of wins, really solid at the back. No real massive scores. I mean, beating Bath and Barnet 3-1 back-to-back games away from home was good. And then a couple draws towards the end nearly derailed us a little bit as we came in towards the final throws, but we had a chance to win against FC Halifax, who you saw in the previous episode. Went on to beat them 2-1, so secured promotion. It's going to be very difficult when we go up a league. We really need to go professional and we really need to increase the training facilities, or else we're in big trouble, but we'll see how the summer goes. FA Cup wise, took 2 attempts to beat Boreham Wood and then came a cropper against Shrewsbury, despite staying in the game for a huge amount of time in that. But I think the FA Cup was never one we could realistically say we were going to try and win. FA Trophy, a bit more disappointing. We got past Ebbsfleet in Slough, then Bath beat us 5-1 in a very one-sided game. To put it into context, though, we were trying to improve our league form and try and creep up the table and ensure a playoff spot at that stage. So we did field a fairly weakened side to keep players fresh. So we've got to take that into context. Moments to remember then, biggest win against FC United 5-2. Atienza with 2 goals, outdoing most of the attacking players there, so well done him. Match to remember, a 3-1 win at home against Barrow. Again, looks pretty standard to me. I'm not sure why that sticks out as a match to remember. And then goal of the season was by Raxo, a 26-metre strike against Stevenage. So all in all, good season. In terms of the finances and the reputation, I mean, not really changed reputationally. No new sponsorship deals. Revenue's all gone up. I'm guessing it's to do with prize money more than anything else. And then non-domestic sales amount to 0. So merchandise, 101,000. How we lined up then: Fredericks in goals, Brathwaite, Atienza, McAvoy, Bellingham. Yeah, Peterson, Cartman, Spence. Yeah, probably fair. Dimitriadis, Moses, and Gilt. Yeah, so pretty good all in all. The average ratings are pretty good. Most of them around about the 7 mark. I mean, you've got Peterson was probably the lowest out of them, which is quite a surprise because he'd had a great season the year before. One manager month for February. I don't think they've announced manager of the year yet, but I might be in contention for that. In terms of club awards, player of the season from the fans, Dean Spence. Young player of the season, Bellingham, who we've just given a 1-year contract. He doesn't have the potential threshold to really threaten being a long-term player at right back, but he's had such a good season that throwing a 1 year on him while we're sitting in League 2 is probably the right thing to do. Goal of the season we talked about, top scorer Gilder of 12 goals, quite low. We're going to have to find somebody to fill that void. The young Canadian who's come through in the latest intake, he might be the one to do that, but he's probably not ready yet. Most man of the match award, Fredericks. Highest average rating, Bellingham. And most passes completed per 90 minutes, McAvoy. Record breakers, so most league appearances by a player, 352 by Atienza, so still going strong. He was here from the start, and he's still one of the best defenders we've got, so he'll be here for a lot longer. Jake Gilder, most league goals, he's got 77 at 25, but he's only 2.5 star potential, so I'm not sure we're going to keep him long term. I have offered him a contract extension to keep us stable as we go into League 2, but I think long term we're going to have to look to phase him out, really, which is a bit of a shame. But as we've gone up the leagues, his ability relative to that's gone a little bit awry. History in the making then, 84 points, that's fairly close between 3 teams there. I would have loved to have done a little bit better than that. And then in terms of the manager timeline, we've got the National League success. 8 high potential players is great, which is free, so that's brilliant. And then top half finish to stay, keep us on the march. So far we've got 2 trophies, which is the National League South and now the National League, which is great. Major awards, manager of the season we've had twice, manager of the year once. So all told, manager timeline starting to look pretty good. Big news to keep us up on is the scholars, so that's who we've signed from the youth intake we reviewed in the previous episode. As I said, Tony Watson, let's get him out from behind my head. I think he might be the long-term answer to some goals. Maybe if we get professional, he can develop him right. He's still not quite as pacey as I would like, but as an option up top, he's scored a few goals in the youth games, and I think he should fit in pretty well. The other bit that we've got in here, if I can find it, it's not in there. But essentially, we've gone professional. That's the news I'm looking for in there. I can probably find it in the club info facilities or general. Yeah, there we go, professional stats. So we've gone professional, gives us a bit more clout when we're offering players contracts, which is the next thing to look at really, is the players. So that's the first team and under 18s filtered in together. So as you can see, we've got a huge number of players in there, and we've got to talk about who we really need to keep and who we need to let go, especially when you take into account that them top, I think 10 players are all due to go. So Gilder's one that's due to go. In Chama, we're going to let go. Spence has no interest in renewing his contract, which is really frustrating because I'd like to have him for another season. Cartwright will probably keep for another year as a bit of strength in depth at the back. McHugh, I think it's probably time to let him go alongside Lashley as well. And probably Stephen Williams. All 3 of them can probably go, as our midfield area is actually pretty strong. But yeah, we're going to have to thin out these numbers. There's a couple down there. McCoy, Potter, probably long term we won't let them go. They've got long contracts though, but just getting the squad size down a little bit is what we're going to aim for to do in the summer. So I'll get through the summer. We'll see who we keep, and then I'll bring you back just at the start of the season. We'll look at what we're predicted to do. We'll have a look at a couple of the players who I think will be doing really well for us next season, and then we can make our predictions on how we think we'll get in the first year in League 2. So stick around and I'll be back probably as we approach July, August time. Welcome back. We have got through the transfer window. We're at the first game of the season. There's some things to update you on in terms of the transfers. So let's get into it. I mean, essentially, nobody coming in. A bit of a no-brainer considering it's a youth intake challenge. So yeah, pretty straightforward. In terms of history though, released players. Lewis Cato, we've let move on. He wasn't keen on staying. I didn't think he was particularly that great. He hadn't developed the way I wanted him to go. Bellingham had outperformed him, so I think it was just a case to capitalise on him going, get the wage budget down, and away he goes. Asquith Lashley, another one, centre midfielder. I think those that were in front of him were too too strong. Sabarakso, etc. Peterson, he was never really going to make it, so we let him go. Same can be said for McHugh, similar position. He just hadn't developed as well as we thought he maybe would have. So another casualty of a strong midfield. And Benjamin and Chama, who we've been trying to get away for a number of years. He's 24 now, and he came through when he was 17, 18. So he's been here a very long time. We've finally managed to get him off. So since 24, 25, so 8 years. Had one season where he played quite a few games away on loan, but for us he's a very bit part player, so again let him go. And then most notably Jake Gilder, huge servant to the club, so a big thanks to him for getting to where we were and where we are. But moving forward, he just didn't have that kind of development potential to justify keeping him on the wages he was on. He wouldn't take a cut, so ultimately I took the decision to let him go. Dimitriadis is a stronger left winger at the minute. He's probably not good enough to play centre forward, especially in terms of his finishing and his pace, so we just let him go. We'll move on. In terms of where we are for the squad, I've got more than 25. I think we've got about 28 in here. That's just to kind of squeeze in a couple more players who I think are on the peripheral. They're really close to being able to get in the first team, so we'll bring them in and give them development opportunities. Players to kind of look out for. I mean, we've got Fredericks again in goals. He's come on leaps and bounds since he came in. He will continue to be the number one. I think Rakesh Borodale, he's got a lot of potential to potentially compete in the future, but I think Fredericks has made it his own and he'll stay there for the long term. But we will need a new goalkeeper at some point in the future. Other ones to look at, Adi McAvoy. He's in the players to watch in terms of the league. He's 4-star current ability. His stats are really good. He's tall. He's got good jumping reach. He's mark, tackle, position, heading. He's pretty much the best defender we've got now. I think he's gone past Atienza, which is no mean feat really. So I think he's one to watch for. In terms of the midfield, I mean, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Sabarak, so he plays in that deep role, and I think he's still got a lot more to come in terms of development, but I think I'm going to put him down as my midfielder to watch. Again, let me know in the comment section if you think differently. You might think Dean Spence, this is his season to shine, but I think he's the one to do it. Michael Cartman, a close contender. The reason I didn't pick him, although he is a fantastic player, is because he wants away. He's trying to force a move. Huge number of clubs want him, but the thing that's stopping me letting him go is no one will offer more than the 35k. So they're coming in with non-negotiable bids. They're not enabling me to put on a sell-on clause or to up it slightly to get our money's worth. So I'm quietly knocking them all back and hoping we can keep him on for another season. But again, time will tell as to whether we can hold on to him or not. In terms of up front then, who to watch? I mean, I'd like to say Tony Watson. In fact, I will say Tony Watson because I think, although he's only 16, I think he's got potential to start coming in and getting a few performances in. If he can grasp his chances when he comes in as a bit part player and he can get hams out the way, I think the sky's the limit really for him, the young Canadian, 16 years old, good fitness, he's better finishing. We just need him to get in and kind of showcase what he can do. So that's my assessment of the players to kind of really watch in there. In terms of the league itself and the preview, it's no surprise to see us down at 200 to 1. We were 250 to 1 originally, but 200 to 1, so it's going to be some challenge to stay in there, with the challenge is to kind of finish in 20th. I think that's where we're looking at. As you can see in the key players, got Adi McAvoy in there, and Dean Spence, who's one worth looking at every time we kind of do a squad review, because he's only 24, Barbadian, 68 caps, 21 goals, so I think he will go well past the 100 caps mark. We managed to get him on a 1-year extension, so we've got him to 2034. However, if somebody comes in for him in the millions offers, the board might well force our hand. We have had a massive takeover from the club, so we've got new ownership, but that's just kind of reevaluated the debts. We're still not in the greatest of conditions. We are fully professional again, but it means I can start attacking some of these facilities again. So let's look at the youth recruitment, get some of the facilities up there, the training facilities, and see if we can develop it. Now we've gone full time. So again, that's massive. finance-wise, the projection looked like it was going to recover, but still we're flying down into the negatives. We had a small stadium increase just to increase the number of seats, but I think it's going to be tough. It's not unachievable. We've upset the odds before. I'm sure we can do it again. It's just a case of getting into it. In terms of the schedule, we've won all our friendlies. The only one against anyone of worth really was Crawley Town, who we beat 2-0. The rest of them were kind of against lesser opposition. So we've got an away game against York to open the season up. I'll show that on camera, see how we get on, see how the squad shapes up, and then I'll get on with the rest of the season, and you can make your predictions in the comment section. So stick around and I'll get us ready for the game. So here we go, opening game in the league proper, as we call it, in League 2. In for a real rough ride, but starting lineup, we've got Fredericks in goals, got back four of Cockings, Atienza, McAvoy and Bellingham, a midfield three of Raxo, Spence and Peterson. So all of them looking fairly familiar now. Dimitriadis has made that left-hand wing place his, Moses on the right, and we're going to start with Spencer up top. Lamar Ham's kind of playing second fiddle, and then we'll wait for the emergence of Tony Watson when he comes back from injury. He's out 2 to 5 weeks, but we'll see when he comes back. Going to start with a balanced mentality, carrying a couple fitness issues in terms of Dean Spence because of his international exploits, but we wanted to start with the strongest team we could really. So let's get in there and see what we can do. Cartman missing out through injury. Would have been nice to see him in there. I think would have made us slightly stronger in the middle of the park to have him in place of Peterson. But Peterson's no slouch either. He's a good player. Cockins with a through down the left. Looks like the first highlight might well come to us. Dimitriadis with a right-footed effort coming in on the left wing. But although he hit the target, it was saved. And again, we're not looking to set the world on fire in terms of running away for a league push or anything. We just want to stay in the league. Corner comes in. Atienza gets a header at the second attempt. But 7 minutes in, looking fairly positive, although we've not quite been tested yet in the other direction. Cockins winning the ball back. Moses gives it away. It's pinging about there in the middle. If you can get out wide. Bellingham drives in. Has a shot that's put away. Just can't make that killer kind of blow through, and that's what we're missing. We're missing that focal point that can finish more than he misses. And again, we're still waiting for that to come. Not since Oscar Allen have we had a true centre forward to focus at. Raxo with another corner in it goes. Initially cleared, but Dimitriadis will get a chance to put something in. Another header into the box, but not clinical enough to make any real challenge, but still positive moves in the first game of the season against York. And to kick off the league, a point's not the end of the world. What I'm just hoping is we don't get dominated game in, game out. Raxo with a free kick takes a deflection. We'll get another corner. And set piece wise, we need to make some of these count. We've got some good centre halves in there. It's all on the delivery, but we've not made one count yet. Spence and Bellingham trying to combine to get it back in again, but I think it'll fizzle out. Half an hour gone, third of the way through the game. Limited York to pretty much nothing, but that'll be the commentator's curse. We'll probably see something come from them shortly, but so far so good on the balanced approach. Spence for Ouedraogo. I mean, he wants to come off. I wanted to make that change, but I didn't quite click it in time. McAvoy with their first real chance just on the edge of half time there. We are doing well. We'll go for the second half. Spence really not at the peak of his powers, so let's get him off and get Ouedraogo on. I don't want to break Spence on the first game and put us on a right back foot from the word go. So we'll get Ouedraogo on for some game time. He's playing advanced playmaker. We'll leave him as that because it seemed to be working out at a deep hand in advance. I don't normally like to have two playmakers in there, but while it's working, I want to try and keep it. Atienza tired. Martin wants to come on again in the interest of fitness and longevity. I'll make that change. Moses not having a particularly great game out on the right hand side, so the final change will get Lamar Hams on there for an extra bit of firepower as Raxo delivers a corner on the 70th minute. Again, we can't quite find the target we want. Cockins and Martins conspiring to try and get it in there, but again, I think it will probably fizzle out. Moses at the back post before he comes off, perhaps. It looks like it might be a shout for a penalty there, but this is where York might be dangerous on the break. They've shifted it, ball quickly. We get it around the post. So 20 minutes to go. made our kind of final change of the match, and York growing into the game. Fairly close in terms of XG. Hopefully we can hold on just for the final kind of 10 minutes to get onto a positive start from our first foray into League 2. Again, start trying to think about your predictions, where you think we might finish, how you think we might get on. There's Lamar Hams, a substitute, getting a chance just before the end of the game. One ballooned wide from York. It said it's come off the wall, so they'll get a chance for a corner with 3 minutes to go. This would be a hard luck story if this comes to anything. McAvoy will smash it clear, and we go into 4 minutes of injury time. Looking like we might be able to hold on for a 0-0 after some real positive start. Ball's gone in though. Oh, and how many times do we see it? It's been disallowed though. I mean, the heartbreak's been stopped temporarily. They might have another chance just before the final whistle goes. Get it clear, and the whistle goes. So I thought I was going to be in despondent mood there, but we've been rescued by the linesman. So a point on the opening game of the season. If we do continue to create chances, we will start picking up points. So there's lots of positives to take from the game. 10th in the league. There's teams below us, and as long as there's that many teams below us come the end of the season, we'll be happy. So again, let me know in the comment section how you think the squad's shaping up. Do you think we're strong enough to maybe stay in the division? Do you think we should maybe let Cartman and or Spence go to generate some funding? And do we think the board will be slightly more lenient in our requests as we look to improve? Lots of food for thought. I'll play through the season and I'll come back to you as soon as we're at the halfway stage for an update on where we are, and we can alter our predictions and see how the season might end. So once again, thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying the save, and until next time, enjoy yourselves, enjoy your saves, and I'll see you soon.